Good evening and welcome to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Shelby Anderson and joined alongside me is Julia Proud. Tonight we've got a big show for you, including highlights from Auburn's basketball game last night against the Florida Gators and a recap from the Super Bowl.
So stay tuned. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn on Eagle Eye TV. Men's basketball, as we mentioned last week here at Sports Night, was in sort of a slump, but that seemed to have changed thanks to the stellar play from the Auburn team as a whole and equal coaching from Bruce Pearl and his staff.
The Iron Bowl of basketball was over the weekend, and while the football game may not have lived up to Auburn fans' expectations, this basketball game sure did. Eagle Eye's own Andy Hewling was there to capture it all.
Auburn fans were amped for this one as their in-state rivals, the Alabama Crimson Tide, came into town. The energy from the fans transcended onto the court as Auburn blew the game wide open with a 21-2 run to give the Tigers a 13-point lead. Alabama would cut the lead to 3, but Auburn would have another explosive run of their own, led by Jared Harper and Bryce Brown to take a 48-28 lead at halftime. Auburn did not let up as the Crimson Tide were unable to come up with any answers on defense. Auburn would go on to win by a final score of 84-63. The leading scorers tonight were Bryce Brown with 23 points and Jared Harper with 20.
We beat a really good basketball team tonight in a great environment with ESPN here. Our guys really stepped up. I thought the effort and energy defensively was huge. To turn Alabama over 21 times and get a really good understanding of how we need to guard as a team. I thought Wes Flanagan, Chad Pruitt, their team of coaches did an outstanding job with the prep. I thought the kids were engaged and bought in, and that's the closest we've looked to the kind of Auburn basketball that I like to see.
Auburn's record improves to 15-6, and they will return to Auburn Arena on Tuesday night to face Florida. From Auburn Arena, I'm Andy Hewling, Eagle Eye TV.
Coming off a big win against the Crimson Tide, Auburn looked to carry the momentum into last night's game as the Florida Gators came into Auburn Arena for an SEC showdown.
Auburn basketball came into last night's contest against Florida not having beaten the Gators at home since 1999. They're also looking to keep up their two-game winning streak. Early in the game, Bryce Brown would find his groove as he would lead the way with 14 points for all scorers. Austin Wiley saw some game action as he got in for the first time in a few weeks as a leg injury has cost him his past few games. Now both Jared Harper and Juma Okeke went down within the opening minutes. Jared went down with an ankle sprain and Juma Okeke with what Bruce Pearl described as a hip injury, but both would return to play as Okeke would finish with 11 points and 8 rebounds. Samir Dowdy had himself a game while Harper was hobbled. He played well on both ends of the floor, finishing with 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals. Jared Harper, even though it was obvious he was not 100%, would go on to finish with 8 points and 3 assists in 27 minutes of play. Now, Auburn was on fire defensively as they forced Florida to 17 turnovers, and using those turnovers to start big plays and fire up momentum swings as dunks by both Bryce Brown and Horace Spencer got the crowd involved. Malik Dunbar would hit an and-one three-pointer, which started Auburn's biggest run of the night, putting the Gators away midway through the second half. Now, like we stated earlier, this dunk here by Horace Spencer really provided a big momentum shift for the Tigers as they would put them away early in the second half. Now the win moves Auburn to 16-6 overall and 5-4 in conference as they head to Baton Rouge to take on LSU in a conference showdown on Saturday at 1 o'clock on ESPN2. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Hayden Desmond.
Auburn entered the week just outside of the top 25, with most voters placing them around 28th in the country. But as the Tigers had 2 quality wins this week with more to come as they prepare to take on LSU on Saturday, look for the Tigers to make the jump back into the polls this coming week.
Auburn is looking to continue the hot streak that they have gone on over the past few games, as the stretch of games they are about to face will be tough, as they travel to Baton Rouge on Saturday to take on LSU and then back to Auburn Arena as Ole Miss comes to town. with Auburn looking to avenge a loss that some say was the start of Auburn's struggle in conference play this season. Coming up, our sports director Hayden Desmond will take a look at Auburn basketball and what they did to help bring their season back. Keep it right here on Sports Night in Auburn.
I believe that this is a practical world.
And that I can count only on what I earn.
Therefore, I believe in work.
Hard work.
I believe in education,
which gives me the knowledge to work wisely
and trains my mind and my hands to work skillfully.
I believe in honesty and truthfulness,
without which I cannot win.
The respect and confidence of my fellow men.
I believe in a sound mind
and a sound body
and a spirit that is not afraid.
Not afraid.
And in clean sports
that develop these qualities.
I believe in obedience to law,
because it protects the rights of all.
I believe in the human touch,
which cultivates sympathy with my fellow men,
and mutual helpfulness, and brings happiness for all.
For all.
I believe in my country,
because it is a land of freedom,
and because it is my own home,
and that I can best serve that country
by doing justly,
loving mercy,
and walking humbly with my God.
And because Auburn men
and women
believe in these things,
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn.
I believe in Auburn. I love it.
Tonight we're going to look at a few plays from Auburn's last game against Florida, and I'm going to tell you how Auburn uses big plays in order to get the crowd involved and make the other team unable to hear their own thoughts. Now, this first play that we're going to look at is fully on Bryce Brown. Bryce Brown is one of the best on-ball defenders in the country and the best that this Auburn team has to offer. So what I want you to pay attention to is the stance that Bryce Brown is able to stay in and how he's able to impact the play as it develops. He's staying in the stance and he's keeping his position, and as the Florida player drives into the lane, Horace Spencer is able to come up and disrupt the play, and before he gets in there and possibly loses the ball because he may not be the best at ball handling on the team, he dishes off to Bryce Brown, who's able to finish for the lob. Now I'm going to look at another play from Bryce Brown, but this time it's going to be on the offensive side of the ball, as Jared Harper is going to find him with his amazing court vision for the lob, and Bryce Brown just gets up and finishes, and that's what he's best at. That's what he's known for getting around the rim and being able to finish those big momentum plays. Now, the last play that we're going to look at is another defensive play, because that's what Auburn has been just doing amazing at these last 3 games. After a 3-game stretch where they allowed 80 or more points, they've really been hunkering down. And this play from Samir Dowdy really shows that, as Samir is able to get into the lane and disrupt the passing lane, and he just grabs the ball, and that's all it takes. Steal slam, that's all you need. Now, like I said last week before the Missouri game, if Bruce Pearl could rally the troops, this Auburn team is going to be right back on track and high-flying like they were to start the season. The energy is back, and being around this team and covering games like Kentucky, morale was kind of low, and that's understandable, especially for that stretch of games early in conference play. Auburn would get down big and try to come back, but their efforts would fall just short, and as an athlete, I imagine that's got to be demoralizing, notably when it happens in back-to-back situations like with Kentucky and Mississippi State. It's just not good for your locker room. The Auburn culture in more sports than one is about being high-flying, fast-paced, and using momentums to kill your opponent's confidence and rattle them. Just like the plays we went over and how you saw the pure difference in crowd noise and how loud the jungle can get, that's how Auburn needs to play all the time. Loose, confident, and with as much swagger as possible. Now, remember how last week I said Auburn's defense was going to need to improve in order for the wins to start coming? After 3 games of allowing 80 or more points, all of which were losses, here are the last 3 games. Against Missouri, 58 points. Against Alabama, 63 points. And last night against Florida, 62 points. Last night alone, the Tigers turned a Florida team who doesn't turn the ball over into one who seemed as if they couldn't hold on to it. Florida had 17 turnovers. 17. And Auburn only had 10. Now, I'm not good at math by any means, but I know that if you force 17 turnovers and only commit 10, your chances of winning are pretty decent. Now, if Auburn can keep up this recent streak of defensive prowess while at the same time continuing to put up the amount of points they've been able to, the rest of the SEC might be in trouble. Auburn's next game is going to be a tough one as they are on the road against LSU, which so far is 7-1 in conference. And with point guard Tremont Waters, much like Jared Harper, who might be the 2 best in the SEC, are looking to keep their good season up. Auburn will be on the road, but that doesn't mean this streak is going to stop. Play solid defense and keep scoring, and they'll be just fine. The players had today off to get a little rest, which will be good for the team, and come Saturday, we'll see which Tigers come out on top. Coming up, Shelby and Julia will have a recap of everything else that's going on the Plains, starting with women's basketball. I'm Hayden Desmond, and you're watching Sports Night in Auburn on Eagle Eye TV.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Hi, Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Like we've been saying all season, the Auburn men aren't the only ones killing it on the hardwood. The women currently sit at a 16-5 record with only one loss out of conference. The women welcomed Georgia into the Auburn Arena on Sunday as a pre-Super Bowl hurrah for Auburn fans. In the game on Sunday, Coach Flo was able to coach the women to a furious rally in the fourth quarter as they outscored Georgia 19-9 to send the game into overtime after entering the period down by 10. In overtime, with just over 15 seconds left, and with Auburn down by 1, Janiah McKay drove to the lane and put up what would have been the go-ahead layup. But after the shot fell just off the rim, Crystal Prim grabbed the rebound and was fouled as she went back up to the basket. At the line, she remained calm and cool as both shots hit the bottom and she gave Auburn the lead. And after a Georgia three-point attempt at the buzzer failed to find the basket, Auburn walks away with their first win against the Bulldogs in their last 4 tries dating back to 2016.
Now, the recent success of Auburn's women basketball is being recognized this week as Auburn sophomore forward Unique Thompson was named SEC Player of the Week after averaging 17 points and 10.5 rebounds over the Tigers' last 2 games against Ole Miss and Georgia. She is the 4th member of the team to be honored this season, joining Janiah McKay, who was named SEC Player of the Week in December, and Robin Benton and Brooke Moore, who have both been named SEC Freshman of the Week.
Auburn football has to consider this offseason so far a win. They have a top 12 recruiting class. Cadillac Williams was hired to the Auburn coaching staff, and 8 juniors that could have gone pro decided to return for their senior years. Eagle Eye's own Hayden Desmond was able to sit down with Jeremiah Denson, Daniel Thomas, and Markel Harrell.
The biggest goal I can say, man, just play for one another. You know what I'm saying? Get back on that right track. Last season and go. We set the goals, and then we didn't reach some of our goals. But that's how life goes. But the main one goal I want for this team, man, is just come together, be tight. Everybody, when your back is against the wall, everybody pointing fingers and things like that. I want us to come together, play as one. Play for the guy beside of you. That's what Auburn is. That's what Auburn family is. So that's what I want us to do.
So you spoke a little bit about last season. What do you think can be the biggest change from last season to next season?
Just play for one each other. You know what I'm saying? Just play for one each other, man. We had some bumps in the road. Things didn't go as well. Losing games and things like that. But it's all about getting back on the right track. That's why it starts over every year. And that was my main reason. I got one more year, and I want to give it one more shot. You know what I'm saying? I want to go out with a bang, and wherever that happens from 10, 11 months from now, wherever those results is, I gotta live with it. So, I'm excited. I'm happy that I came back, man. I feel like it was the right decision for me and the team as well. So, man, I can't wait for it.
All right, man. Thank you. Best of luck next season. Appreciate it. statistically a pretty good season for you, 48 tackles, 2 picks. What do you think that you can do to make those numbers better?
I mean, just try to work on the small things, working on my change of direction, staying low on my back pedal, quarterback in the defense, make sure everybody on the same page before the ball is snapped, and try to, be that leader that my coaches want me to be.
Now, you talked about quarterback in the defense. What does it mean to you to be the vocal leader on that side of the ball?
I mean, it's big because, a lot of people might be, leaders by example because, they play good on the field, but a vocal leader, like people hear that and they respond better, you know what I'm saying? So definitely being a vocal leader is big in our defense and on our team because Deshaun Davis was our vocal leader last year, so just trying to follow in his footsteps.
So you're coming back for your senior season. What is the team's goal this year? Obviously, you have goals of a national championship. That's something that you want to bring back here. But what are your goals for this year?
I mean, just finishing strong. Like I was saying, like this past interview, just trying to finish strong. And that was one of our biggest problems last year. We didn't finish a lot of times. We started off good, but finishing the fourth quarter because everybody start off first, second, third quarter, but finishing. And we can finish every game. I guarantee you we'll have a national championship there.
All right, Daniel Thomas, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Like after going back, you watch all the games, you can see like there's always room for improvement. There's always room to get better. So like if we improve and we consistently improve, never get like complacent, then we'll win the national championship.
So obviously the 5 offensive linemen are coming back. No matter who's under center, do you feel like you guys are going to definitely have that?
Yeah, no matter, because our job is up front, not to worry about who's behind, who's taking a drop, who's receiving the ball, who's getting the catch. Like our job is to make sure they don't get touched. If they get touches in the end zone when they score a touchdown or 30 yards down the field, that's the job that we have. So like the quarterback competition, like we don't know what's going on. As far as like that's not our job to worry about that. That's the coach's job. That's what they get paid for. Our job is to make sure they stay clean at all times. You good?
Is there anything that you specifically feel like you could improve on, whether it's technique-wise or getting a little bit faster or maybe a little more conditioning, whatever it is?
Yeah, it's always, like I said, it's always room for improvement. Like I've been like with our nutrition team, Lauren and Bajan, like all those guys, and just being with Coach Russell, just seeing what I can like improve on, just trying to like become a leaner and more efficient like body. Because at the end of the day, your body's like a machine. You got to put good in to get good out. So just been working in the off season with that stuff and just been going pretty well so far. So I'm excited.
So what do you think the ceiling is for this team? Obviously, you talked about national championship. How can this team be relevant?
You win that championship, you'll be remembered forever. Like you'll get posters up everywhere. You'll always have the rings. You'll have the trophy as well. But it's like the ceiling is like as far as we want to take it. And what I mean by that, like I said, if you get good in, you go get good out. But like good is not good enough. We want to be great. So we just keep on pushing. We just go fight every day. It's not gonna be easy, but we just gonna continue to work and get better and just grow, so we can win the national championship. No problem.
Coach Malzahn has to be happy with his recruiting class as of today, even though the Tigers lost out on George Pickens, who flipped his commitment to Georgia at the last minute. Auburn had 2 5-star, 12 4-star, 7 3-star total in the 2019 recruiting class in what hopes to be a bounce-back year for Malzahn and the Tigers.
It seems like every week we are talking about how Auburn gymnastics is still undefeated and how they're taking opponents down with ease. Why would we change that?
Yes, Shelby, that's right. Auburn Gymnastics has proven they can win inside the comforts of home in Auburn Arena, but they are also proven road warriors, as last Friday they went on the road to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats in a match that did not disappoint.
In a match that was ultimately decided by .125, Auburn put up their second highest score on bars this season with a 49.325. Vault was almost the same with a 49.225, and on the floor, Auburn continued with a 48.825 and finished on beam where the Tigers capped off the night with a 48.750. Auburn put up their second highest score on vault and bars in the last 3 seasons with a 98.550.
Baseball season has arrived, and Plainsman Park is ready for the first series of the year, as starting next Friday and going through next Sunday, the Tigers will host a series against Georgia Southern, looking to get their season off on a high note. The Tigers were ranked 19th in the final preseason poll released by the National Baseball Writers Association this week. The Tigers are one of 8 teams from the SEC ranked in the top 25 and will take on 6 teams in the top 15 this season, including the top 2 teams in Vanderbilt and LSU on the road. The Tigers are coming off a strong season where they finished 43-23 and advanced to the 2nd Super Regional in program history and the 1st since 1999.
And now, heading just down the road for softball, the ladies open up their season this Friday in the Same Dollar Classic in Gulf Shores, where they will play 2 games Friday night against Tennessee State at 2 p.m. and Western Kentucky at 5 p.m. 2 on Saturday with Missouri State at 2 p.m. and Louisiana Tech at 5 p.m. and their final game on Sunday at 10 a.m. against Florida A&M.
Last week, our sports directors were at Super Bowl Media Days, and they got to talk to the 3 Auburn players that will be playing in the big game, and 2 of them walked away with a win.
Brandon King and Jonathan Jones of the New England Patriots both earned a Super Bowl ring for their contributions as the New England Patriots won a defensive slugfest by a final score of 13-3, with Julian Edelman being named MVP after a 10-catch, 141-yard performance, helping secure the 6th ring for the Patriots franchise. Coming up, we'll take a look at everything in Auburn sports. We'll be right back.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Hi, Smokey. Only you can prevent wildfires.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be tornado next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So,
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Let's take a look at your week ahead in Auburn athletics. On Thursday, men's golf will travel to the American Airlines Invitational in Hawaii.
Thursday night, women's basketball hosts Kentucky with tip-off at 6.
Women's softball opens their season in Gulf Shores against Tennessee State at 2 p.m. and Western Kentucky at 5.
Swim and dive hosts the Auburn Swimming Invitational beginning at 9:30 a.m.
Track and field travels to Clemson for the Tiger Paw Challenge in Clemson, South Carolina.
Men's tennis goes on the road Friday to play the Florida State Seminoles, and equestrian hosts 2 matches this weekend.
Men's basketball travels to Baton Rouge to play LSU. Tip-off is at 1 p.m. and can be seen on ESPN2. Women's tennis plays hosts Jackson State at the Yarborough Tennis Center with the match set to start at 2. On Sunday, women's basketball travels to Fayetteville to face off Arkansas. Tip-off is at 1 and can be seen on the SEC Network. To cap off the weekend, women's golf will play at the Shootout at Shoal Creek, which will last all day. Well, that's all we have for you tonight. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at EETV_sports and follow Eagle Eye TV on Instagram. And don't forget to check out our website, eagleeyeauburn.com. I'm Julia Prout. And I'm Shelby Anderson. Thank you for joining us in War Eagle.